So the next component is the fallopian tube. Fallopian tubes are also called as the oviduct, and remember they are the longest portion in the female reproductive tract. And then the fallopian tube, uterus and vagina, they constitute the accessory duct. So remember, in the case of the male, we have learned that the rete testes, then we have the vasa efferentia, then we have the epididymis, and then we have the vas deferens. So as per the NCERT, these are the accessory portion. Yes, even the ejaculatory duct, and then we have the urethra. These are also the part of the accessory ducts in the case of the male, but in the case of the female, only three structures are there: the fallopian tube, uterus and the vagina. These three structures constitute the accessory ducts, and each fallopian tube is 10 to 12 centimeter long and extend to the ovary and extend from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. So remember, the fallopian tube starts from one end of the ovary and it goes up to the other end of the ovary and joins with the uterus. Now the next point is, the part closer to the ovary is called as the infundibulum. So this portion is called as infundibulum. Infundibulum basically means funnel shape. So you can see the shape of this portion. It is funnel shape, and the funnel shape edges will carry finger-like projections which are called as fimbriae. So fimbriae are important. This comes in oftenly in the exams. Where are fimbriae present? So you will say infundibulum portion of the fallopian tube or oviduct carries the fimbriae, and fimbriae are responsible for collecting the ovum after the ovulation. The infundibulum leads to a wide portion which is called as the ampulla, and after ampulla, the last portion as per the NCERT is the isthmus, and isthmus joins the fallopian tube to the uterus. So remember that this is the way the egg after fertilization is supposed to move. Fertilization takes place at ampulla. Remember, the egg is collected with the help of the fimbriae and it enters into the ostium. Ostium is the hole from where it goes to the infundibulum area. From infundibulum it goes to the ampulla, waits for the sperm to come in contact. Once sperm makes a contact, zygote is formed. Now slowly this structure will undergo changes and move towards the isthmus and finally enters into the uterus for implantation. So the uterus now is in the next portion. It is the largest portion in the case of the female reproductive part. It is also called as womb, and its shape is like an inverted pear. It is attached with the help of ligament, and then it opens into vagina through a tube called as the cervix, also called as the cervical canal. The cavity of the cervix is called as the cervical canal, which along with the vaginal canal forms the birth canal. So it may come in the board exam, what exactly is birth canal? So you have to mention cervical canal and the vaginal canal. They both together form the birth canal. The wall of the uterus has three layers of the tissue. The external thin layer is the perimetrium. The middle thick layer is made up of smooth muscle is the myometrium, and the innermost layer, which undergoes cyclic changes and is glandular in nature, is the endometrium. So endometrium undergoes changes during every period or the menstrual cycle, and myometrium is the one which undergoes contraction during the delivery of the baby. Let us go through this diagram once again. So you can see here that there are three names mentioned. The outermost layer is the epithelium, which is the perimetrium, and then we have the thickest portion, which is the myometrium, made up of smooth muscle, and myometrium is the middle part which undergoes contraction during the birth or delivery of a child. And then the innermost layer, which is in contact with the cavity or which is in contact with the developing embryo or which is involved in placenta formation, is the endometrium. So this is the layer which undergoes changes during every periods or every menstrual cycle, and it is highly glandular in nature. You can see this structure is shown in quite wavy nature. This portion is endometrium, then we have myometrium outside, and then we have the perimetrium to the most extreme outside. Now the next is the female external genitalia consists of mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, clitoris is there. So you can go through the NCERT. It all talks about the structure of mons pubis. Labia majora is outside, and then it which extends down from the mons pubis and then we have the labia minora, which is a pair fold of tissue under the labia majora. The opening of the vagina is often covered partially by a membrane called as hymen. Hymen's presence or absence is not the certificate of virginity. We have discussed already in the classes before. And then clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure, lies at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening. Remember, there are two openings present in this structure. One opening is the urethral opening from where urine comes out, and the other opening is the vaginal opening through into which the sex is performed or otherwise the delivery takes place. Remember, in the case of the male, there is a single opening, that is the urethral opening or urinogenital opening, because that same opening is the pathway for both urine and for the semen to come out, but at one time only one structure will come. And in the case of female, there are two separate openings or pathways, one for the urine and other is for the sexual activities. Now this diagram may come in the exam, so please go through the labels carefully and remember the sequence through which the milk is supposed to pass through.